everybody. We'll call this meeting to order. Everyone, please remember to silence any mobile devices that you got. Mr. Pittman, if you could lead us in the invocation, please.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity, God, to do the bits of the county. We ask that you grant us discernment, and just help us to make wise decisions that will help as many people and impact as many people in a positive way as possible, dear Lord. We thank you for your mercy and your goodness, dear Lord. We fall short so often. Most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, that died for our sins. In Jesus' name I pray. Lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please make yourself aware of the ethics, awareness, and conflict of interest reminder. Do we have any conflicts of interest? Hearing none. Do we have any additions or changes to the agenda? I have a second. So moved. Vote by the usual sign. Motion carries. So please note that we will be taking off item number 9A, Employee of the Month. And for number 11, for appointments, we will be taking off appointment of the tax assessor A and B, the tax assessor oath. If everyone will update their agendas accordingly. Next on the list tonight, do I have move we adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, vote for the usual sign. Motion carries. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, vote for the usual sign. Motion carries. Item number 9B will be tax collectors report. Jesse? Hello, hello.
Okay, for the month of June 2022, the collected taxes were amounted to $60,832.83. You have that report. Our collections percentage was 97.93 through the end of June. We almost got to 98, didn't we?
Close.
Update on debt set off. Our department has entered additional 210,000. So we've got a current amount of 452,000 into the national or North Carolina debt set off. We hope to see those come back in tax returns soon, next year. Update on foreclosures, pre-foreclosures. There's 21 on pay plan. Paid in full or 6. 6 in foreclosure with 1 pending. And the attorney, Dean Grindstaff, his office and I are working closely on these. And if any do get ready to go to foreclosure, Janice and I will be working closely out of his office in preparation for that.
So just so my.
5 mainly. 5 are in foreclosure process that Dean's office has.
Just so I understand that, so these 5, if they make it through the entire process of foreclosure, the county would then seize that asset, and then we would basically have
Advertise
to
on,
make a decision if what we want to do with it or sell.
Yes.
Or try to sell it, right?
it would go up for bid. Yes,
Gotcha.
okay. There's 1 in stay at the courthouse right now. She has filed bankruptcy, so we can't, the clerk of courts can't do anything with that one. We can't either. Bankruptcy. And in pre-foreclosure status, there's 20. So I've got a total of 54, according to the scoring system, that's in this process. Get ready to go to do the next 25, starting in July. So the pre-foreclosure letters are working. They're coming in with the fourth down and setting up pay plans, which is great. Would rather they do that, you know.
Yep.
What happens if they set up a pay plan?
I've got their phone numbers. I have their addresses. I'll send them a broken promise letter, a delinquent letter, and it will go to Dean's office if they do not pay. And they were well aware, they were made aware of this process in the very beginning. I said, you can't skip 1 month. It goes back into foreclosure, yes. And-
They get a second chance after that.
Under the state, Jeff, I can interrupt, so there's almost always a second chance if they want to come in at all.
Yes.
I don't think there'll be a second chance.
No, right.
How much have we collected so far since we started the process?
Dollar wise?
Yeah, just a rough estimate.
Paid in full?
Just a rough. I'm just curious how much revenue
I
we've
can
clawed
get
back.
back to you on that dollar amount, because it's actually quite good, so,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'll get you, I'll email you that dollar amount.
that'd be perfect.
All right. No, because we can adjust that amount instead of 12 months, I can go up to 24 months. And that's flexible and that helps each individual taxpayer. No complaints so far. No. Everybody's actually worked quite well with this pay plan, you know. Try to make it gentle and easy for them as much as possible, so.
Next on the agenda this evening is Ms. Jessie Presnell for 21-22 unpaid taxes. Good evening. Welcome back.
Good evening again. I think you actually have the reports on your iPads. Oh, you don't have iPads.
Yeah, they're on. Yeah.
Oh, your emails then. And you want to take a look at those? I don't figure you want me to read all of that tonight. Saving time. But the settlement statement for the fiscal year for the current taxes and the delinquent years for 2012 to 2020. You have those reports.
Are these just 2021 or are these any previous years?
The delinquent report is for the delinquent years, 2012 through 2021. And then the current is this past year, 21. Actually, I think it looks good on those back taxes. We've been, being aggressive with the foreclosures, with the pay plans and collecting those previous years. And interest, as you say, that on the delinquent, on that number 3, it's $120,000 in interest back taxes.
Do the majority of these people end up paying for the next calendar year? What's been your past experience with these?
When they come in or Kyle payment in, we're asking for those particularly
Okay,
from 2012 on
I'm talking about the delinquent taxes for this year.
for this year.
Yeah,
Those will probably be not as high as they normally have been because we're trying to get the back years
gotcha.
before 2012 disappears.
Oh,
So,
gotcha.
yes. So we're going to continue on the 21s, this current 22 year.
Jess? Thank you. Appreciate it. Next on the agenda tonight is item number 9D. Ms. Amber Lowry.
Thank you guys for having me tonight. And I just wanted to, first of all, thank everybody that's been involved with the budget for this fiscal year. The increase that MCAR was given is much appreciated. Everybody that's involved with MCAR understands just how important it is to have a good relationship with our county and how fortunate we are in the fact that our county supports us in every way, from the county commissioners to the county manager to the sheriff's department, everybody all the way down. We always feel like we have a really good relationship with you guys, and we're grateful for that. In 2020, we cared for over 1,000 animals in our shelter, and we ended up doing pretty good with our numbers. We adopted out 534 animals, transferred 227 animals to other rescues around us in North Carolina, New York, and in Canada. 63 pets ended up being euthanized due to extreme illness, injury, or aggression. No animals were euthanized in 2021 due to lack of space. 131 animals were placed in the foster home, 442 pets were spayed and neutered, and 313 owned pets were also spayed and neutered. And we were able to give 116 animals rabies vaccinations from the shelter for the county. Our save rate for the year was 93%, so we're really proud of that. So last year, like I said, we cared for 1,071 animals in our shelter, and this year we expect to see similar numbers. When I started this job back in 2007, we didn't really keep good statistics then, but I do know that the statistics for 2008, the next year, we took in 1,248 animals, and in 2008, euthanized 672 animals. That means that the euthanasia rate was around 54%. So half of the animals that we took in 2008 did not make it out alive. We have worked so hard to reduce that number to around 7% in 2021. And I think everybody can agree that saving more lives is a great thing. When our shelter was built 38 years ago, it was not built with long-term stay in mind. It was built like an animal control center made for quick turnarounds in a time when a no-kill nation was unimaginable. And we have now been no-kill shelter, which means that we've had a euthanasia rate that's under 10% for the past 4 years. And while saving a record number of animals has been rewarding, it has also been challenging, especially in a facility made for short-term, quick-release housing. We've come to the realization that in order to continue serving Mitchell County in a way that keeps the animals' best interest at heart, our facility has to improve. As it stands, our shelter is not functioning well. The lobby area that once housed one desk for 2 employees to share while doing paperwork on pen and paper must now house 4 desks, each with a computer for the 6 employees it takes to keep up with the demands of digital record keeping, adoption, advertising, and social media. And my office houses 2 desks when it was built to be an office for 1 and a break room. Our internet cannot keep up with the demand of our day-to-day use. Employees more often than not take home work to complete in order to stay in compliance with state law, and options are just not available on Chalk Mountain. Our tiny lab area serves as 6 rooms in 1: laundry and dishes, intake exams, vaccine medicine storage, bathing and grooming, euthanasias, 72-hour hold for cats, and quarantine for sick cats and injured small dogs. Cross-contamination makes it near impossible to keep sickness contained to that small room. The lab is also side by side with dog kennels where barking dogs continuously stress out fearful and sick cats, making it hard to recover from illness. The dog kennels were designed in a different time too. Nowadays, kennels are rarely built to allow dogs to face each other, as we have discovered that this leads to the spreading of sickness and an increase in cage stress. Our adoptable cat room has improved in recent years as we have retrofitted cages with portals to open more than 1 cage to each cat. They work great, except during high volume months, which is generally May to October. Cat portals remain closed in order to maximize the number of spaces so we can keep up with the demand of the animals coming in. We have also added stand-up cages in our already overcrowded lobby to house the overflow of adoptable cats. For 2 years, we've been dealing with a septic problem, and due to the lack of space for a new drain field, our only option is to apply for a direct discharge permit. Once that system is put into place, we cannot increase the amount of water being used. We will never be able to build on, not only because of the septic, but we are simply out of room. Our board of directors has decided that a new facility for our rescue is urgent. Animal welfare is changing. In fact, the North Carolina Animal Welfare Act has increased from 12 pages to 22 pages this year, and our current facility is no longer a reflection of the good work that we do. Mitchell County deserves a facility that every citizen can be proud of and enjoy to visit. We are simply behind the times. We have begun planning for this new facility and have set ourselves a goal of seeing it built within 5 short years. We have started a planning committee and have a meeting tomorrow with our Department of Agriculture State Inspector, who is completely in agreement that we need a new facility. We need each of you to support us in this journey. Help us spread the news that we're looking for a place to build, not necessarily a state-of-the-art facility, but a better home for the homeless pets for the future. We're also prepared to launch a capital campaign, seek private donors and grants to complete our goal, and any help that Mitchell County can give us as we move forward will be appreciated. Any questions? Are we looking for? Well, we are looking to increase, we don't want to double the size. If we increased our shelter by 3 times, we could fill it. But we may not have the funds to care for that many animals, employees to run it. So we know that we need to increase our size. We need to add probably anywhere between 4 and 6 dog kennels, double the space in the cat room for sure, because they need more space, and our lab needs to change, the area needs to change. Like I said, we need separate rooms for different functions of that room. So we're looking to increase size, but not necessarily so much that we can't take care of what's coming in. Amber, do you know what the current square footage is for your facility? I have places to live before, but maybe 3,000, does that sound right? I think 3,000 square feet. And we're on about a little less than 2 acres of land, so we're looking to search for land. We're hoping to get around 5 to 6 acres because we would like to continue in the path that we were starting out on for large animal rescue as well, because there is a need for that in this county, a desperate need for large animal rescue, cows, horses, pigs, goats. As it stands right now with the septic runoff and the problem that we have, we cannot house any of those animals right now. So that's something that we're looking for as well, looking for more acreage. Our board has monthly meetings. We do, the second Tuesday of each month. Out there or different places. Okay. We've been meeting virtually, but I think we're trying to start back. Usually if we meet in person, it's the library. It's first one. 6:30. Mm-hmm.
That's Bert. Nancy County had an animal shelter, and he said that it was a Taj Mahal for animals, so.
Yes.
I think it's nice to go to Avery.
Avery County.
yeah.
I just visited.
But Avery
Avery.
has the problem you talked about where they can't staff it and run it
Yes.
because they went so large.
Yes, Avery does have that issue. I was there last week and, yeah, it's a very nice facility. Very nice facility.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah,
Little
they-
Ridge folks.
Yep, Linville Ridge definitely helped with that. So. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the list tonight, we've got public comments, board comments. I don't think I've got anything up here. Any board comments? Here none, we'll move on to appointments. Number 11C is the appointment of the tax collector. Jesse, you're hot tonight, right? So do we have a nomination for tax collector this evening?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to get some precedent to.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, vote will use your sign. Congratulations. Taylor, if you could help us.
Yeah, I'm camera right there.
Yeah.
I can move out of the way.
Okay. You are hereby authorized, empowered, and commanded to collect the taxes set forth in the tax records filed in the office of the Mitchell County Deputy, in the office of the Mitchell County Tax Collector and in the tax receipts herewith delivered to you in the amounts and from the taxpayers likewise therein set forth. Such taxes are hereby declared to be a first lien upon all real property of the respective taxpayers in the county of Mitchell, and this order shall be a full and sufficient authority to direct, require, and enable you to levy on and sell any real or personal property of such taxpayer for and on account thereof in accordance with law. All right, I'll let you repeat after me. I, J.C. Presnell. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and maintain. The Constitution and laws of the United States. And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina. Not inconsistent therewith. And that I will not allow my actions as collector. To be influenced by personal or political friendships. Or obligations. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of my office as tax collector. So help me God.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Yep. Next item on the agenda this evening is item 11F. That's the appointment of the deputy tax collector. Any motions for deputy tax collector?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Sandra Olson for deputy tax.
All in favor, vote with the usual sign. Sandra, if you would mind to come up. Thank you.
You are hereby authorized, empowered, and commanded to collect the taxes set forth in the tax records filed in the office of the Mitchell County Deputy Tax Collector and in the tax receipts herewith delivered to you in the amounts and from the taxpayers likewise therein set forth. Such taxes are hereby declared to be a first lien upon all real property of the respective taxpayers in the county of Mitchell, and this order shall be a full and sufficient authority to direct, require, and enable you to levy on and sell any real or personal property of such taxpayer for and on account thereof in accordance with law. I, Sandra Burleson. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and maintain. The Constitution and laws of the United States. And the Constitution and laws of North Carolina. Not inconsistent therewith. And that I will not allow my actions as collector. To be influenced by my personal or political friendships. Or obligations. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
It's nerve-wracking up here.
It is. And that I will.
No.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of my office as deputy tax collector. So help me God.
Good deal. Next item on the agenda this evening is item 12A, late application for tax relief. Mr. Blair Hyder.
Blair's not here, but Mavis can speak tonight.
You might want to come up to the mic, Mavis.
They are recommending that the board approve this late listing for relief. This is a veteran application, and it actually got misdirected to another Mitchell County, not in North Carolina. So it kind of took a little while to get back to us and to get to Blair's office. So they do have all the paperwork in now, and so he's asking that we, the board vote favorably in this case.
This is a disabled veteran, correct?
I think so. Let me look at that. I didn't know this person, but it is disability. It is.
CDVA.
And she's got her, the letter and everything's in there. And she got some help in filling it out, but it got directed to the wrong place. And
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Everyone, vote in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda this evening is the Board of Education request. Chad, is that you tonight? I did get a call from Chairman Brandon Pittman. His son has been experiencing some pretty tough time, and he did express that he regret that he couldn't be here this evening. He's down in Duke going through some stuff, so remember him in your prayers. But thank you for coming, Chad. Thank you for coming.
We just, Beth submitted a request. I asked that our STEM money and our one-to-one money be converted to general fund. Just gives us some flexibility this year. So, we're heading or adding or switching a little over $1 million.
What are your specific requests? Best appropriations to be
Teachers. Funding teachers. Again, with our budget request we made this year, we know with the enrollment drop, we've been held harmless for 2 years. We knew there was a check coming of $374,000. We'd planned on that. We didn't foresee the $13 and $15 increase, which could have hurt on us. We didn't see the local funding for bonuses, which could have hurt on us, which ended up being $1,011,079 is what we ended up shortfall. We were able to, we have a plan, able to make that up to, Beth was able to collect some indirect funds from ESSER funding, which they didn't make available to May, which really saved our butts. I mean, we got $240,725 back that to offset. And then I'm looking at several cuts. I've got 5 teachers, a social worker, several programs, a CO director, funding to a couple systems. And then the one-to-one becoming operational money actually helps us spend that money on not having to cut any more personnel. And then we could use our sales tax money to cover the one-to-one thing. But if we can't use sales tax money to kind of cover personnel.
So, Mr. Calhoun, is STEM coming out of Article 44 already, or is that?
44 and some other funding. I thought it was, I used to think it was all 44, but that maybe it's telling us it's 44. And I'll ask you with flexibility there. We asked for 2 STEM teachers, but in this plan is 1 STEM teacher shared between 2 schools that would use the rest of the funding to make up other positions.
So you only have one.
Yes, sir. Unless you tell us we're at 2, then I'll have to cut another teacher somewhere. It might be Spanish at the high school.
Any other questions for Chad?
Chad, since the state passed their budget, has that helped any with the food and the nutrition shortage that Brandon was?
We got a little
addressing?
help. It was very small, $5,000, $6,000 of the 184,000 shortfall. So we're still looking at 175,000. But then that got offset by the increase in the pay raise. If you saw, the pay raise got increased from 2.5% to an average of 4%, which now those local employees we pay out of local funds, we were expecting to give them a 2.5% raise, and now we're gonna have to give them a 4% raise. So that offset that savings there, actually probably hurt more than the offset. So 13 and 15 is what we just did not see coming. We'd always heard that they would give us time to work into that. And I was hoping they'd say, okay, by year 2025 or 2027, you have to have everybody at 15.
They just dropped the hammer, right?
So this year it's 13, next year it's 15. Of course, they didn't mandate it for local employees, but where we split fund, you got a custodian, you're paying out of local, and a custodian, you're paying out of state. You can't pay your state custodian 15 and leave your local custodian at 850.
So is the state.
We pay several of our custodians out of state, yeah. Majority of them out of state.
Under.
Truthfully, what was probably out there, if they would apply, it's probably 75%, but we usually get around 52 to 55%. That 52, 55, you probably have 28 to 30% of those reduced, which the state, I do know y'all noticed in the state budget, they did pick that up. So if a kid is classified as reduced, they eat free. The state is going to pick that part up, which is great for the kids.
Yeah.
No, not this coming year, yeah.
On the reimbursement from the state. Used to be the school.
It is,
Reimbursement's
the-
higher than what they.
the last 2 years, it's been a lot better. And if Heather's here, she could tell you the name of the program. The reimbursement even went more than that, Jeff, last 2 years. Then that's a federal decision, actually, not a state decision. And the feds decided to cut that help this coming year, which hurts tremendously too. I don't want to give you exact figures, but just say an example, we were getting $3 back from the feds last 2 years. They dropped it back to the $2.60. And that, when you go into that, that's 40 cents a kid. That hurts. I wish they would have kept that program, but that did not pass. That actually got axed from the Build Back Better bill. That was one of the things they took out.
So. One on more. $272,000.
That's the one. If it's Article 44, I don't think that can be.
So essentially,
one-to-one, we restricted it for students.
Hope that makes sense. Okay, nice.
That's what we'll be looking at.
Okay, yes, yeah.
What is the yearly application for?
and the one-to-one's currently coming out of Article 44. No,
CM is Article.
But it was restricted.
so it's essentially what the ask is to remove those restrictions.
Oh, you're also asking to remove the one.
Yes.
I mean, that's essentially that.
Capital.
That's a capital.
Is the controller's office okay with?
We also gotta remember we're holding up for a payment for school. So.
Too late.
The one you all appropriate doesn't pay for all the one-to-one. We use sales tax to supplement that. You don't fund the entire.
Roughly
one-to-one
half,
project. Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
It is.
Right.
It's around half. It's a little bit more than half. You all fund. It's the last payment of that. Thank goodness. Wasted money.
That's it.
We've been paying that.
But they're not asking to cut in half. They're just asked.
They're just paying one cent,
Yes,
so that leaves it.
yes.
They need us to allow. Roll expense.
$72,563 plus $78,000. We get that additional money. $350,000. discretion. Okay, you quoted 479.
That's the payment for the one.
Their part and their part, their entire payment.
Does that get that in? Control that? 1.2,
Started mine too. I just be honest, I didn't want to do this. This is the board decision. I was hesitant. I was very hesitant. And I'll tell you why I was hesitant, because I'm thinking the same thing Jeff is that payment on that school. I don't know what that school's gonna cost.
I think that's the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
right now.
it is. But we gotta survive this year and next year. So,
And that's what I'm
so when
sitting there
Mavis
thinking
presented
is-
this idea to Steve and Brandon and I told him, I think I told him then I wasn't a big, huge fan, but I gotta survive this year and I gotta survive next year. This gets me surviving the 2 years. This extra money that Beth found is a Band-Aid. It's money for this year and it's money for next year. Then that money's gone.
And that's what I'm sitting here going through my mind, as we're
Yeah.
talking through this, is if we do this and it's a fix right now, all we're doing is kicking the can down the road. And what's
But if we don't do this,
But we don't do this, we've got to
We're
survive.
we're gonna have classrooms with
Yeah.
30 kids in
That's
them.
exactly right.
Yeah, I don't, it's a no-win
It's a no-win
situation.
No matter what you do.
Yeah,
It's like, when do we deal with the problem? Now or later?
that's right.
But
I mean, I guess you're, I don't know, I try to think about everything from my household. I would be hesitant to put anything on a credit card, but if it come down to buying groceries, I'd put it on a credit card.
What's sustainable? Next year, hypothetically, we fulfill, child is there.
It is, and that will help us then, but it doesn't fix us, it helps us. We're still gonna need help then.
That's a major concern. You guys have 40 million, school's gonna cost 45 million. Could go what, could come down.
But you gotta think too, we got lottery money. Lottery money's coming back. It has been coming back. Plus, we're gonna continue to get sales tax money the next 2 years, so we should be fine.
And historically, it's been a little better.
And this, the
past.
45 was the top 120% figure too. And we can, when we bid this thing out, we tell them, this is what we can afford. 42.5, 44, 43 is what we can afford. So we'll have an idea at that time what we can afford, or we start making some cuts within the building of the school. You don't just say it's 45 and you don't do that.
Well, here again, I'll go back to concern. Rick, you don't have any needs in the next 3 regular schools.
Yeah, but that, see, also, I think I explained this at an earlier board meeting to y'all. Did get a special lottery fund from the commissioners that cannot be used on the new school. It's $300,000 this year, which we're going to spend on construction. We get 500,000 this coming year, and then it's 500,000. That should take care of our other schools' needs unless we have something unforeseen. If it's unforeseen, that should be an insurance issue, but that should take care of that. The only thing that 300,000 and then the 500,000 can't be spent on is anything dealing with athletics. Can be spent on anything else. It's spent on roofs, it's spent on carpet repairs, anything that happens at those other schools, that should cover it fine. But we didn't, the $300,000 is supposed to be for this year, but we just Found out this week, we just got it. So really, we got $800,000 we're sitting there on, 300 plus the 500 that's coming this coming year to fix the other schools. And it bills, it's not money you have to spend and it's gone. So in other words, if we spend 150 of it, 150 of it carries over.
Does that have
Repairs. It's basically any capital need other than athletics. You cannot spend one dime of it on athletics. It all has to be anything dealing with the school.
Well, I'm gonna go back to my,
And that will help us, Jeff, on that. We should not, unless there's some athletic needs come out, we should not have to take, other than the one-to-one payment, another dime out of the sales tax money the next 2 years, because we should be able to use that 300,000 and that 500,000 to cover these schools. I mean, you're gonna have some athletic needs and issues. You're gonna have a gym floor that buckles somewhere, and yeah, you're gonna have to pull some money to, or we could have that happen. I think going to, we could have that happen. And we would have to pull the money to cover that, but the 3 and the 5 should cover all other needs of the other schools. So that burn, that's what did ease my mind on that, knowing that money's there. And that's another fund, it's another lottery fund that we have to make a request. You all have to approve, and our school board has to approve before we get the money. It's sort of like all lottery money goes through a 2-step process. There's a name for it. I don't remember what the name is. R&R or something like that. But it's sitting there. And the funniest thing, it's probably been sitting there for 3 or 4 months, and DPI didn't bother to tell anybody it was sitting there until I made a phone call down there. So, where's this money at? It's supposed to be here. Oh, it's there. Thanks for telling us.
Appreciate that interest we gained off of it.
I could tell them I've got the figures. Start with 1213 after QZAB, 458, 1314 went to 468. This is after QZAB's pulled out. 526, 578, 580, 608, 639, 659, and 781 in 2021. I don't have 2122. So it's continually
so I could use that, comes out.
that was after, all those figures were after QZAB.
Yeah, I mean, if it traditionally stays like it should look at. And that makes 2.4 million.
Then we should have 2.5 million in lottery, so we should be fine. Regular lottery money.
Two years in a row.
It's a lose, yeah.
So,
Let me ask you this. Is it typical to pay
A local money, when you're a small county, you have to. I mean, you don't have an option. I don't know of a county in the West that doesn't pay salaries out of local money. And the smaller ones pay even more. It's just, I mean, and you think about it this way. We have 7 schools with 1,700 kids. Most school systems in the bigger systems have 800-900 kids in a school. That's why it breaks us down. That's why the new school will help. I mean, you go from 3 schools where you have 6 custodians to a new school, you'd have 3 or 4. You have 3 schools where you have 12 cafeteria ladies, you go to a new school where you have 5 or 6. You have 3 schools where you have 6 secretaries, you go to 2. I mean, the savings will come in your transportation, your electricity, your fuel, your
All the
heating,
overhead to keep up those other buildings.
cooling. Yeah, and then it's energy efficient, whereas you look at the old schools, they're not energy efficient. There's holes in the doors, can't help, because they're built in the forties and fifties. Find a house that's built in the forties, fifties, I guarantee you'll have holes there somewhere. Talk them so much.
So Chad, how much is the projected cost of the school? I know Jeff gave a number, but is that pretty accurate?
I mean, that's, what we asked them to, what I asked them to do. Give me a figure, it is not going over absolutely. And they sort of went at 120% scale and told me 45. So I expect it to be around 40.
You guys are gonna use the Seymour, aren't you?
Yes.
So
I mean,
you'll-
whatever's guaranteed is what it'll be. You think, once you start the school, it won't go, so
When will you guys know that, you know?
when it bids out, which
Okay.
should be soon,
Okay.
in the next
So-
month.
I guess that's a big unknown right now
Yeah.
for you.
But,
Just-
I mean, they've done this a lot. They're not gonna tell you a figure and it come in $12 million over or $10 million under. They're gonna know within, as much as they've done this, especially at CMAR, they're gonna tell you a figure, they're gonna be right on.
So,
When you look at the projects that they've done for Western Carolina, the figure they gave them, every one of them's been under. And that's projects that they're doing now, that they have done last 2 years. So they're not going to underestimate it. They're definitely going to overestimate, but they're not going to eat any money.
so as far as the auxiliary gym, that's not included in that, right?
No, that's not this price.
Okay. Is that still on the table at this time?
I mean, that's something we're looking at for another grant. I mean, we're gonna apply for it. We're not gonna stop at this. I mean, there's lots more things that need to be done in Mitchell County Schools. Each school needs an overhaul. It needs new air, plumbing, electrical. There's gonna be a grant for that. There needs to be sidewalks up to the high school on both sides of the road. We're gonna apply for a grant for that.
Didn't the
We're gonna
county,
apply for a grant for auxiliary gym up there, so we don't have kids out 11:30 at night driving home in November, December, January, and February. And something happened to these children while they're driving home on the icy road. If I can get them out of here by 7:30 in the evening by having that gym, I think makes a lot more sense. And those of you that have children that have done this, you know what I'm talking about. I have had children that have done this and practiced 11 o'clock at night. And it's not safe for them to drive home in December, January, and February.
what county actually applied for 2 schools and got it?
They did, Cleveland did.
Cleveland County
Yeah,
got
and
2.
I plan on doing that too.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's-
stopping here. If money's gonna be available. And it's funny thing, this is lottery funds. These are lottery grants. They can only be spent on schools. You wouldn't believe the rumors out here. I took a $40 million grant from the town of Spruce Pine. No, town of Spruce Pine's not eligible for a lottery grant. Only the school system is eligible for that grant. I didn't take any money from anybody. The only place that money can go is to a school system. If it hadn't went to Mitchell County, it would have went to another school system. So I may have taken it from another school system.
Yep.
And that's okay.
The reason I was asking Chad about the auxiliary gym is the meeting, was it a month ago, that there was invoices brought? Was it last, I don't know, June? And so that's why I was asking if that was still on the
Yeah,
table.
we're still, I mean, you don't quit planning as a superintendent. You have a vision, where you want this county to be, and you don't stop with this school. This school doesn't fix everything. Still lots of needs in Mitchell County schools. As long as there's grant money available, I'm not gonna stop applying for it. If I have to spend $10,000 to get a $40 million grant, I'm gonna do it every time. It takes the burden off taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer too. I don't like to pay more taxes either.
Chairman Pittman, I move that we take a 5-minute recess to speak with our controller's office.
Sounds good. We'll take 5 minutes.
account. But the time you make the subtractions of one-on-one, it reduces that to maybe at $800,000 a year, maybe to $1 million in actual savings over 3 years. Is what that does.
But
So-
outside of
Does that make any sense?
I guess outside of our normal operational procedures every year, we're essentially just taking out an additional, in all the previous years, they've also taken out $270,000 roughly out of sales tax, so.
No, we took the 272 in from. They put in the difference
So we'd be,
of 100 and something.
You also gotta realize, too, 217, take it out, we're making that up, that $300. That money's probably gonna come out for repairs of those schools anyhow, if we didn't have the $300 and $500.
Yeah, it would have to, you know, the bottom line concern is, Chad, with me, is we're not gonna have enough money at the end of the day if the school comes in projected that the school system can pay for. So on the backside of that, the county government will be stuck for whatever the remainder of that balance is, whether it's $2 million or $3 million. Well, if your sales tax money is spent
We
down,
will know what it is. We take that money. We will know that. You're not gonna stack it in yet. Taking new furniture out of school, and using furniture, drop prices down, we will meet the budget. We're not gonna ask the commissioners
but
for that.
your budget, you correct me if I'm wrong, your budget for the new school was 43 or 45 million.
I mean, really, the only reason we're asking this request is Mavis came up with this idea. She was, me, Brandon, Stephen, Brian. Okay, this is all right.
So I'm curious, to your
And
point
it
there,
makes sense.
Chad.
It saves this issue.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted to say.
This is not Chad coming up with some kind of scheme. This is not Matt coming up with some
Right.
kind of scheme.
And in all fairness to you and to Mavis here, you just said a while ago, this wasn't your ideal scenario and,
It's not.
okay, so
But the
what, but I'm curious, what would be your
$3,500
solution to this?
survival right now.
Yeah, basically, when we met, the things that we talked about was, you know, it shames me to think that we can't, you know, that we have to underfund all this stuff, you know, especially when it is kids. And we're like, and the brainstorming we were having was basically, what can we do? And, you know, every year we come back. So it was like, all right, let's look at sales tax. Can we get that on the ballot and say, all right, this money, if we put this on the ballot and build a, you know, a campaign to help support it, that this money is always going to be appropriated to the school and try to help cover that gap. That's a big ask. I mean, that's when you got to get put on the ballot. A lot of people, unless we
we
have
gotta
the
get out
right,
and sell it.
unless we have the right marketing campaign, it'll die on the vine. The other thing we talked about was like, what can we do currently? Because Chad was talking about the different positions that he's looking at. And so we were like, how can we
help in the short term?
in the short term to get to where we can get somewhere? And that's where, yeah, and that's where that,
Yeah, I think the ask of Mavis was, what can we do to help where we don't go into our fund balance and we don't raise taxes?
Pretty much knew our numbers. So I was trying to figure out how we can move some money around to what they need, but not make our budget really worse.
And that was pretty much the only solution I think we could come up with.
So,
to
Mr.
get-
Pittman, can I reiterate, this is where we're at, okay?
Yeah.
So the state shortfall was 374,400. The federal shortfall was 52,000. The $15 increase cost us $267,222. The child nutrition shortfall is $184,115, might be 5,000 less than that now. Local increase for retirement costs and the bonuses that they put in is $133,342, for a total of $1,011,079. How is Chad Calhoun going to recommend the Board of Education will handle that? A teacher at a middle school, a teacher at a middle school, a teacher at elementary school, a PE teacher at the high school, a CO director, REP program, teacher assistant Greenlee, a social worker at the high school, one STEM teacher, support for Penland, support for track, the one-to-one operational on the high school board, the 272,563 offsets that. The indirect ESSER that Beth was able to come up with, 247,25, That puts me within $191 of balancing that out. If I don't get that 272, 563 tonight, this is what I've got to look at. And this, I guess, is a board decision, but this is my recommendation. It's the $100 Christmas bonus we provide for staff at Christmas, $40,000 that saves. Limit field trips, which I don't want to do. It could save us $20,000. Limit supply and paper. I don't want to do, but that could save us $20,000. Cut some custodians to 30 hours. I don't want to do. That could save us 30,000, but we'll probably lose most of those custodians. They probably leave. Cut some lunchroom staff hours. That could save us $30,000, but I'd probably lose them. Half art at Greenlee, just cut art out totally there, save me $20,000. Cut another middle school teacher, cut another middle school teacher, cut a foreign language teacher at Mitchell High School, and cut the final STEM teachers. That's what I'm looking at, guys. This is survival. When we made that request, Jeff, I went back and I listened to a board meeting when you used to be a Board of Education member years ago. And one thing you said every board, just about every board meeting, because I heard you on tape today. Damn commissioners don't find us near enough. We need to sue them. Remember that? I've got it on tape. I can play it to you.
Hey, let's rock and roll and pull it up. No, can't nobody here, I don't think, against.
I know that.
I've been on.
And that's why I'm just asking for survival.
I've been on the other side of the. Here's one thing I'm gonna recommend for future. And we've never done this. It's been requested 25 years. There's never been an open line of communication between the Board of Education and county government since I've been part of both. When I sit on the Board of Education, there was no meetings, there was no sit down and say, these are our needs. Let's come to a general consensus here. We're going to be able to give a little bit, but you're going to have to cut some because we can't meet all the needs. Now we can't. We go on that. We made all the needs that you got. But we never sat down and had any meetings except when it comes budget time. And I can say this because it's on the Board of Education. The Board of Education walks in. You either fund us or you got to support education. I've been on both sides of the stick. I can say that. I can say it as an old Board of Education member. I can say it as a county commissioner.
Yeah, I think you said.
Line of
that.
communication sucks.
Yeah.
Bottom line. And if we're going to take care of the needs of the kids, which we need to, and I've got 2 young daughters, got a grandson and a future granddaughter that's going to be going to Mitchell County schools. I want the best education. And you, of anybody in this room knows that I supported education 20 years ago, and I support education now. But now I sit in another seat that has to take care of the county coffers and the county's money.
And I can say too, Jeff, every time I have been asked to be here, I have been here. And I can tell you, when that man sat there as board chair, we text and talk all the time. I tell you, when this man's board chair, we text and talk all the time. So the communication is good here with board chairs and superintendents. That's the last 7 years probably been the best it's ever been. Am I right, Bert?
Great communication.
Am I right, Bert? Am I right, Steve?
Absolutely. No, we talk a lot.
So that's not been on me.
I'm not insinuating that. I'm
Yeah.
saying as boards, as your finance officer, or as your,
And we've offered to come to any meeting you wanted to decide.
or as your staff, you know, this meeting, these prior conversations that should have taken place in January. And said, here's what,
No.
here's what
Let's
we're
look when the
looking
budget
at.
passed, and let's look when we found out about the $13, $15. That got thrown at us late.
Mhm. Well, I know because Steve and I can remember when, you know, Steve and I met with you and Brandon and Angie and Lloyd. And we talked about the Bowman property and the exchange of the Bowman property and all of that. And you gave us a sheet of paper that showed what Yancey funded, what we funded,
Mhm.
and, not Madison, Avery, Mitchell, and Yancey, what they funded. You also said this is what we're looking at for our cafeteria staff, et cetera.
Mhm. That's what I gave you.
Yep.
Mhm.
But the comment I remember you saying, we're not gonna ask you for this money this year.
For the full amount, no.
So,
And we didn't.
but, Mr. Chairman, I've said enough. I've made my point, I think. However this board wants to handle this situation, I will support it either way. Either way, I'll have heartburns and concerns. But however this board, as a board, chooses to handle this situation, I will support either way.
Sounds like we need to make a decision tonight, correct? I mean, we need to know.
And I will say too that, you know, when we met, the four of us or five of us, we did agree to sit down and talk again, I think in October. Is that? So since some more board reps.
That's probably one of the best meetings we've had, I think. With
Yeah.
Steve, Brandon, myself, and Brandon. Those three.
Alan was there too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, folks, what we were talking about a while ago, we can decide to go either way with this. If we choose to allow this earmark to go away and do what we're talking about, I think the elephant in the room is that this just pushes things down the road. And I understand where Mr. Calhoun's coming from and his concerns about maybe this not being his first choice of things to do. But I also understand Mavis tried to come up with a solution and a helpful, and I appreciate her for that. But ultimately, all we're doing is kicking the can down the road. That really, it takes care of an immediate need, but there will be.
But that's what we were talking about in that conversation, about the sales tax. I was sitting here tonight when Jesse was presenting her stuff, and I'm thinking about all this revenue we're clawing back from some of these foreclosures and different things. Could we direct that, say anything we get back to that would go towards the schools? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think the plan, I think the best plan we could come up with, and just being frank here, was, a campaign to maybe get a 0.25% sales tax increase and allocate that towards the schools, going forward. And, that was pretty much the only way I think we could come up with outside of, using our fund balance or raising property taxes was to shoot for that. It's a gamble.
Yeah.
Do I have any motions on the?
Honestly, I feel like we should motion to table it, and I'm sorry, I know that kind of puts you in a bad spot, but I feel like there's some hostility in here. Maybe it's just the temperature, but I don't want anybody to make decisions based off
I'm not
emotions.
hostile.
Mr. Calhoun, if I know you need a decision like last month.
I mean, if we don't get a decision, I've got to move forward with that. I can't wait. I mean, personnel, this is July. It's up to y'all. I've got plans either way.
But we
There's
need
no
to
hard
make
feelings.
this
You don't. I mean, it's not personal. Certainly not personal.
decision.
No.
We'll make it go over. We don't. We'll do the best job we can do.
Figure space.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't.
Not literally last
okay.
month. I moved. We got a motion table, but
Was that in the form of a motion or was that just a comment?
That was just a comment right now because I feel like there's some hostility.
If there's any on my part, I'll apologize, but I don't think I've tried to
And
Jeff and
myself.
Jeff and I have argued for years.
And myself too.
Hey,
Is that not right, Jeff?
Yes, sir, it
Yeah.
is. And we always come out laughing like this.
And I'll go by and see Jeff when he's standing outside his shop over there. So
Yeah.
there's never no hard feelings.
No, there ain't no hard feelings here. I just made a point, and Chad made a point, and Chad went back and did his research so he'd have a statement. But
Hey,
anyway,
some statements you don't forget, Jeff. 'Cause I scared we were.
but I'm good.
I'm gonna make this. So, you know, I feel like we had a productive meeting. I'd like to see us continue to move forward together, our two boards. I move that we remove the restriction from Article 44 sales tax from the 2 STEM teachers down to 1. And I also move that we remove the earmark from the 1 to 1. And make it, and change that to a special appropriation. Is that correct, Ms.?
So we've got 2 motions on the floor. He made 2 motions there.
Oh, in separate motions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do I have a second on the 2 motions?
Second.
All in favor, vote by the usual sign.
Too late, I second.
Motion carries.
I'll take, he wants to second it. Can we do that over?
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Sorry that takes a long time, but that's one thing I like about our board. We ain't gonna make a decision lightly. So I know we all take every decision we make very seriously. So do I have a motion? We approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I need that to go quick. Second, I think we had a second. All in
I
favor,
did.
vote with the usual sign. Motion carries. Next thing on the list tonight is our finance officer's report. She is, can we skip down to the county manager's report and then we'll come back to our finance officer's report?
So I got a rather lengthy county manager report, but I'm going to go fast on this thing in the interest of time. So a few things here. I want to talk about occupancy tax bill status. I spoke with Representative Dudley Green last week, and he is trying to put some leverage on the Senate. I know he's in the House, but because there's like 4 or 5 counties that have their occupancy tax bills on hold. So we'll hopefully know something this month on the status of our occupancy tax. Maybe this week. I'm going to touch base with Dudley again. He said it's kind of like taking a long shot, all or nothing to get them all through. And if we have to go back to bat next year, I guess that's just where we're at on that. So on another note, on a positive note, many Mitchell citizens enjoy watching the fireworks from the top of the courthouse. But in recent months and years, we've had a lot of growth up there restricting the view. So we had some volunteer work done this past Friday. Myself, Brandon, Commissioner Brandon Pittman. Maintenance, that was Danny Honeycutt and Nick. Were there, and emergency management, and we all got chainsaws. And we just went down the side of that hill and we mowed it down. So we took down a lot of trees, and for the reason of security is one of the factors that was in that decision to take those trees out, because people will set up outside the courthouse and maybe try to even an old score. We are in the wildest county, folks. So we got that done, and you know, that is we kind of like the work we done, I would say equivalent to about $1,000. Have we contracted that out? That was $1,000 that we saved our taxpayers by not contracting that out. And none of us got our legs cut off or anything with the chainsaws. So we did good. But moving forward, I do want to maybe come up with maybe once a month on a Friday where we do something that saves the taxpayers money, where we can come in maybe as a commission board, as departments that will do a task, whatever that be. So we're working on that. We recently received a $175,000 grant from the Dogwood Health Trust entitled Saving Lives for Substance Misuse. This grant will focus on planning, preparation, and needs assessment in relation to the National Opioid Settlement Funds. And that's a special thanks to Glenda for her hard work and execution on this grant. Commissioner Harding and I attended the open house at the new Glenn and Carol Arthur Planetarium. I encourage citizens to visit. It is a very interesting facility. It is, it has the planetarium and it has a really neat show. Check it out at malin.edu/planetarium. They are open to the public. Met on July 23rd with the Carolina West Board to discuss future collaboration and update them on the Mitchell County EDC position. The EDC board has selected a new EDC director who is slated to start in August. And more to come on that. Commissioner Pittman, that's Brandon Pittman, and I attended the DSS staff appreciation lunch on June 26th. And this board appreciates the hard work that DSS does in our county. I have directed our county attorney to provide legal consultation on several projects. He has completed and sent me the contract in relation to the trade of Bowman for the new middle school property. Contracts kind of pending review of Henning with Campbell Shatley, the school's attorney. So we're going to be going back and forth a little bit in that, but we're moving quickly to get that trade contract set up so we can move forward on that property and get that all in their name and get some ability to plan with Bowman in the future. Attorney Grindstaff also reviewed for me the Mosley architect contract. He made some good suggestions relating to that contract, and I've sent it back to Mosley for updating. I've also directed Dean to look at contracts for Cope and Vinoy, and he is working with us on that. Dean has gave some advice on that. If we move that contract between the Bowman school trade and get that in their name, there might be some options legally that may work and streamline that a little better for us, which I can go into detail with the board members in the future should they need that. We are continuing with site selection related to the new law enforcement project. The process requires us to weigh out a variety of factors. Hoping to bring Mosley in to look at some sites maybe in the next week or two. We're going to try to find a time when I can get the most commissioners to come along with us, the sheriff and a few of the key players in that, because I want them to have a lot of input on this site. And the site selection, we want to hear what Mosley has to say. I met with our Veterans Service Officer, Eddie Williams, last week, and he relayed trends about veterans in our county. First off, if you are a veteran, I thank you for your service. My dad is a disabled veteran, and I know we all have family members in there, so we appreciate their service. A couple key points about the impact of veterans. Our veteran population in Mitchell County is gradually declining. The past fiscal year, there was an estimate of 919 veterans in Mitchell County. But get this, what their impact is on our county. So I met with Eddie and I just wanted to relay this. They received a total of $6.6 million in compensation and pension. So that's going into our local economy. Much of that money is. Veterans are a major contributor to our local economy. I'm about finished. So I met with Michael Jones, who was with Mitchell Recycling this past about a week or so ago, and he gave me, as I'm a new county manager, I like to go look at and see how things are done. He gave me a tour of the Spruce Pine Recycling Center up on Alta Pass. Very streamlined operation. He does a lot with what he has some fine employees. His department does great work for our county. Finally, and that's just this past Friday, we got the official word from the state, Ralph Heiss, that we have $8 million that's been set aside for the new middle school build. But get this, we've been working on a Bakersville recreation project, and the state via Ralph, we thank Ralph for his help and assistance in bringing this forward. We got $2 million to go towards the Bakersville Recreation Center. So that is really exciting. On a final note, I do want to read a little thank you card here. This is from Norma Duncan. Appreciate it. I was going to read it on behalf of the board. She just said that she appreciates the arrangement and our thoughts and our prayers. And she says, your thoughtfulness shown is in everything you do. So we have a lot of thoughtfulness in what we do, even these tough issues that we talk about on a daily basis. I appreciate the things you do, decisions you make, and leadership you show our county. And that was sincerely Norma Duncan. She gave that to the board. So, you know, I just wanted to pass that on. So I want to give you our prayers and our thoughts with you.
Norman, I'd like to just tag on to that for everybody. We do sincerely, we have been praying for you, and I know you've had a tough few months, but wanted to also let you know how proud we are of you here in Mitchell County. For everybody that don't know, Miss Norma is our speaker of the North Carolina Senior Tar Heel Legislature. And she set history this year, being the first speaker to ever be reappointed. So congratulations. And, you know, you do a wonderful job representing Mitchell County. We're very blessed to have you on this board and here in the county. So thank you so much. Backing up, you want to talk to me tonight? We already did the consent agenda.
You voted on it?
Yeah, we voted on the consent agenda. Yeah, we did. Finance report, we're good. County manager report, we're good. Thank you, Alan. That's very thorough. Appreciate that. Dane, anything from the attorney's desk to say? The next item on the agenda this evening is a closed session, and got a few things this evening. For the Mitchell County Board of Commissioners will hold a closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11. Number one, prevent the disclosure of information that is privileged or confidential pursuant to the law of this state or of the United States, or not considered a public record within the meaning of Chapter 132 of the General Statutes. 5I will be to establish or instruct public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by on or behalf of a public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract, proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease. And number 6, to consider the qualifications, competence, conformance, character, fitness conditions, appointment conditions, initial employment of individual public officer, of employee, or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear, investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against the public officer. So for the first session this evening, we will need Stephanie, the board, county attorney, the clerk, county manager, and Bryant Mott and Josh Newton. And I need a motion that we go into closed session. Thank you. A second. I think we got a second. All in favor? Hey, Steve.